people in here for a second. Get some people in here for a second. We're gonna talk about Kellz. Let's get some folks in here. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Cletus, come on. That shit right now. Hey, I'm back. What's going on? What's going on? Hey, Tanya, what's going on? We're going to talk about this Kellz today. I got an issue. I got an issue. I got an issue. Put this over here like this. Put that right there like that. Put like that, yeah. Turn this around. Like that. What's going on? What's going on, everybody? What's going on? What's going on? Shout out everybody's head. But look, I got an issue, man. Candy Reds, hey, Keith, Aisha, Sharice, Tanya, now Taylor, what's going on? Look, I'm gonna give it to you like this, man, and I'm just gonna be quite blunt and honest with it. Everybody talking about R. Kelly this. Oh, we love R. Kelly that. Oh, the Chicago and Kellz is this and this and this and this and this and this. I'm gonna call Cap. And the reason why I'm gonna call Cap is because I told y'all about this 6 months ago. Nobody wanted to pay attention. 6 months ago, I told y'all about this. Nobody wanted to pay attention. Hold on. Oh no, that ain't my car. That was my car. Yeah, I'm going live before football. I'm doing some things around here. So let's get back into it. Shout out to everybody that's here. Hey, what's going on? But everybody talked about we here for Kellz and Kellz is us and we fighting for Kellz and we going to do rallies for Kellz and okay. I said 6 months ago that the rallies that you do is going to expose who you really are. And everybody was like, oh, what you mean by that, Dana? Okay, so let's go here. Today, a court case was going on, right? For Kellz. Nobody went. Hey, what's happening? Nobody went. The people that did go didn't have a voice. Like I said once before, I'm not going to cap for nobody. I'm going to hold everybody accountable just like I think everybody should hold everybody else accountable. Okay? This sector was not made for all the people that infiltrated the sector. Now, I'm going to show y'all some things. But no, I'm going to read some things. Hey, Mama Mary, I'm going to read some things. And then I'm going to talk about some things. So, the headlines today is Chicago. Another of R. Kelly's alleged sexual abuse victims sued the former singer and his associate Keith Calvert for fraud on Wednesday, saying she is owed Kelly's 3 Grammy Awards and the ownership rights to his song. Stop. Here we go with this Me Too bullshit. Excuse my French if I offended anybody, because I'm trying not to cuss today. But here's Me Too with their BS. And I'm going to read it. Heather Williams, plaintiff versus Robert Sylvester Kelly and Keith Calvert. Complaint at law. Now comes the plaintiff, Heather Williams, by and through her attorneys, Dushman and Skafish PC, and pursuant to 740 ILCS 160/1 ET sequence complains of the defendants, Robert Sylvester Kelly and Keith Calvert, as follows. 1. The defendant, Robert Sylvester Kelly, is now and was at all times relevant hereto a resident of the federal lockup known as the MCC in the county of Cook, state of Illinois. The defendant, known to the public as R. Kelly, is an American singer, rapper, and record producer. Hold on. Wait a minute, huh? Ooh. Some pieces are missing. Okay. That the plaintiff alleged in her underlying complaint that commencing in or about June 1998 and thereafter until she was of the age of majority, defendant Robert Sylvester Kelly sexually abused plaintiff Heather Williams, specifically defendant Robert Sylvester Kelly, had sexual intercourse with the minor plaintiff. The defendant also engaged in oral sex with the minor plaintiff. During these repeated incidents, defendant represented to the minor plaintiff that his behavior was appropriate. That plaintiff filed a civil complaint against the defendant, case number 19L1957. The Circuit Court of Cook County entered a judgment against the defendant on March the 10th, 2020 for $4,000 plus cost of suit. $4 million plus cost of suit. The defendant was personally served with the complaint and had various attorneys file appearances on his behalf and knew of the complaint and the subsequent judgment in March 2020. That the defendant, Keith Calvert, is a resident of the county of Cook and the state of Illinois and is known to be the childhood friend of co-defendant Kelly, as well as his business confidant. That at the time of the filing of the lawsuit by the plaintiff and again at the time of judgment against defendant Kelly, he owned composition and lyric rights to his songs and intellectual property on information and belief in anticipation of collection efforts by the plaintiff on the judgment and other actions against him seeking civil damages for his civil and criminal acts. Defendant Kelly set out on a course of action to dissipate his composition and lyric rights and make himself judgment proof. That in August 2021, defendant Kelly sold his ownership to his composition and lyric rights for $5 million to his childhood friend, Keith Calvert. That at time in August 2021, defendant Keith Calvert became the owner of the Kelly composition and lyric rights to Kelly's musical works. That sometime after the appearance of the defendant in the underlying childhood sexual abuse case On April 26, 2019, the defendant Kelly gave his 3 Grammy Awards to a girlfriend in exchange for zero value. Hold on. Wherefore, the plaintiff, Heather Williams, respectfully requests this honorable court enter an order setting aside the August 2021 conveyance as fraudulent pursuant to the act to the extent necessary to satisfy a creditor's plaintiff claim herein. The property be set aside and plaintiff be allowed to obtain the rights to the composition and lyric rights in order to satisfy judgment herein. What? Enter an injunction against further disposition by the defendant's debtors of intellectual property rights. Enter a turnover order for the production and transfer to the plaintiff of the 3 Grammy Awards and 5 attorney fees in bringing this petition and such other and further relief this honorable court deems just as equitable. So wait a minute. Heather Williams want Robert's intellectual property as well as Robert's as well as Robert's copyrights. Like, why do you want Robert's stuff? That's the first thing. Second thing is this. If you're a victim and if you got $4 million, what do you need his intellectual property for? Make that make sense. What do you need his intellectual property for? Things that make you go, Ask yourself, why would somebody need Robert's intellectual property? That's not making sense to me. Can somebody explain that to me? I'm looking for something. Can somebody explain that to me? Now, here's what I'm going to tell y'all. It's a certain blog out there, and y'all know who I'm talking about, that went live talking about, oh, who was talking about the catalog and this and this? Well, when I tell y'all everybody is together, except for certain ones, I want y'all to understand why I say that. I put it out there because I know it's true. Now, everybody else be like, we don't know if it's true, we don't know if it's true, we don't know if it's true. But listen to the live today. I said she's behind the scenes working with Cash Howard on a book deal and a documentary. I was told I was wrong. What did she tell y'all today? She brought somebody on her channel where that person said, y'all should do a documentary and shop it. But the person ain't show his face. Ain't that's what I told y'all? 6 months ago. Now it's playing out in your face. Let's go here. And I hate to say this. Keith Calvert, now I'm going to speak on it. Keith is listening to Sean Harris. Whatever Sean advised him to do, that's what, Keith normally go along and do. Or react to. But remember when I told y'all that, hold on. Sorry about that. And remember when I told y'all that Brian Nix didn't show up to court for Kellz against Heather Williams? And TMZ got a photo picture of that? I'm gonna ask y'all this. Do anybody remember? And you can put yes in the chat or you can put no in the chat. Do anybody remember when I said Brian Nix is a piece of shit and he's connected to Don Russell? Do anybody remember that? And when I said that Don Russell went on To Be Determined chat and tried to dog me out, talking about I didn't know what I was talking about and I'm stopping what's going on. Okay, here's what's going on. And y'all see it in your face in real time. They are bleeding Robert for his funds. They bleeding him for his funds. Dana, what do you mean? They bleeding him. Okay. I'm looking for the video now. But if you can remember when everybody was on Choke No Jokes channel, right? And Don Russell came up there and I asked 2 questions. And he said, I'm not answering that. If he would have answered it, all of y'all would have known the truth right then and there. However, what he did say was the Kellz team we had to split stuff. Don got the masters, and then he turned around and said Keith got the intellectual property too. Y'all heard me come out and say Don Russell was a goddamn lie. Keith ain't got nothing. Well, now I got to say I apologize to everybody because you heard Heather Williams just come out in a lawsuit and say Keith have the intellectual property. That means Keith been in a warehouse. That means Keith been in the storage. So now it gets down to the point of how do Heather Williams know to go after Keith? Well, when you go to Choke's video, and I have it up on my main channel somewhere, when you go to Choke's video, Don Russell clearly say is a covert team to make sure nobody gets Rob's intellectual property. I have some stuff, and Keith has some stuff too. Then you seen To Be Determined jump up there and lie and say Bobby did this and Bobby did that and Bobby ain't do none of that. Anywho, you also heard Don Russell say, I know Keith don't want to play with me because I will put it out there. 4 months after that statement, and the statement that Don Russell made and said, if one of us get caught, the operation can still go on. That's why one of us don't have everything. 4 months after that statement, how ironic that Keith's name come up in a lawsuit talking about intellectual property. How ironic is it that Brian Nix now is nowhere to be found? But everybody is R. Kelly fucking brother. Can somebody make sense of that? Ain't that what Don Russell say? That's my brother. I love my brother. If you love your brother, then your boy, Brian Nick, wouldn't have deserted Robert. But the problem was, Brian Nick was doing stuff for Don Russell that got Robert jammed up in the MCC, and then Don Russell and them was doing stuff with Sean Harris and Choke No Joke that got Robert jammed up in the MDC. Now, if I'm lying, somebody tell me I'm lying. If I'm lying, Somebody tell me that I'm lying. So now that Robert is in it back in the MCC in Chicago, he don't know what's going on. Greenberg was supposed to have been handling the state case. I told y'all for a long time that the state case is going to be going on the whole time the federal trial going on. I was told that I was a liar by that crew over there. Well, what did you see today? How was they able to come to court and talk about what they want if they haven't already been through the preliminary stuff already? Now, this is where I get to my title. Where's the front line in Chicago for Robert? Where's all these we love Robert? Where's this the city of Chicago loves Robert? Well, Chicago people already lynched him in Chicago. Chicago people already sat out there and made him look bad in Chicago, like Kendra G and Charmaine and them. Chicago folks are not coming out in droves for Robert. Chicago folks stole from Robert and then kissed him with the Judas kiss. Chicago folks have also made sure that his music is muted just enough for people to be like, oh, and for Me Too, Time's Up, Color Change to pass that situation just so people can get mad, and now all of them people get up paid. Think about it. The minute they said Robert R. Kelly get 30 years, his record sales went skyrocketing. But I thought y'all was muting him. Y'all on TikTok. I thought y'all was muting him. When I told y'all that was a bogus publicity stunt just to get supporters, fans, and friends to come out of hiding, what do you see? So now we get Keith, a man who don't talk to nobody except for certain people, but he listens to Sean Harris. Why Sean Harris didn't advise Keith to have Brian Nick go fight for Robert? Why Sean Harris didn't do the PI work and have people go up there and tell the truth about Robert and the state case? Here we go. Sean Harris, the PI. When I told y'all he got fired, people told me I was lying. So now let's go with the narrative that he didn't get fired. Is it safe to say, since Sean Harris didn't get fired, he had no witnesses to come for Robert in Chicago? But y'all follow his wife, Sharon Harris or Monet Harris, and y'all give them passes. But people that come and bring y'all the truth, y'all want to give us hell. Make this make sense. And I'm not saying go attack Monet or Sharon Harris, go attack Sean Harris and none of them. I'm not saying none of that. But what I am saying is look at where the truth lies. They paid Lily and her boyfriend Rated R to come out and attack certain people. That's a distraction. That's why I gave little attention to a nigga that got dentures with veneers over top of him. Make this shit make sense. So now I'm side-eyeing Lily. Y'all come out attacking me, Trent, somebody who's not even for Robert no more. Somebody who don't give a fuck about Robert no more. Or the case. So y'all attack us two. Y'all attack Larry, who's clearly the opposition. And that's it. But you don't attack Don Russell. You don't attack Keith because he in the paperwork. That's what y'all said. Y'all attacking people that's in the paperwork. Y'all don't attack Don Russell. Y'all don't attack Keith. Y'all don't attack Choke. Y'all don't attack Brian Nix. Y'all don't attack Bedbug. Y'all don't attack Rainbow. Y'all don't attack none of them. Y'all don't attack Don Russell. Y'all don't attack none of them. But y'all find it funny to come and try to attack me. So yeah, I'm gonna put it out there. Where's this covert team? Because now my question is, since there was a covert team per Don Russell, right? Where's this team when Robert needed them the most? Let's put it out there. I think I'm the only one that never went quiet when it came to Robert. I'm not trying to start up no confusion. I'm putting a nail on the head. How can somebody who don't know him have somebody on their platform talking about y'all should do a documentary? And the people gonna say, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea," not knowing that she already been in the works working with a documentary with a Cash and the Savages. I'm gonna put it out there. I ain't holding nobody shit now. And if you go back, I think it was Tears Live, and the Savages had their publicists up there. She tell it all. So ironically, the person that came on her channel today sound just like that publicist. Oh, I got time today. I got a little time today. Yo, I need 50 more likes. Let's get them likes up. So, what I don't understand is, if you're supposed to be an advocate for Robert, what are you thinking about making a documentary for and you're not, and you don't even know him? That's the thing. It's people out here talking about rob this, rob that, rob this, rob that. You don't know that man. Y'all met him through me. But I'm the one that's not supposed to know him. So let's go here, and I'm going to drop a nugget. Heather Williams, you're trying to sue for something that's not even his. Now you're going to have to prove your claim that he sold $5 million. He sold his rights to Keith Calvert for $5 million. Let's go here. Keith is a hard-working man. Where did he get $5 million from? And if he sold the rights for $5 million, that means Robert ain't broke. But you clearly see the man broke. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. You suing a man best friend and him. right? So when I tell y'all that Don Russell is the callous behind all this, remember I said it. Everything I done told y'all has been nothing but facts, right? Okay. So since everything been nothing but facts, let me talk about real facts. When he was found guilty in federal court, why didn't he get arrested? When he went and changed his plea and pleaded guilty to the other stuff in federal court, why wasn't he arrested? What you have to learn about an agent is an agent still have work to do when they're not arrested on the spot. Now, let's tie it all in. Let's tie it all in. Without Don Russell, there's no New York case. Without Don Russell, there's no surviving R. Kelly. Without Don Russell, there's no heat and backlash from the so-called parents. Without Don Russell, there's no type of press saying that Robert is trying to funnel $1 million deal. So now Don Russell got mad and started calling Keith's name out on Choke No Joke channel. Ironically, 4 months after that, Heather Williams goes after the intellectual property after Don Russell talks about the intellectual property. Heather Williams feel like she's entitled. Why? You claim you're a victim. So how are victims entitled to this man's intellectual property? That's not making sense to me. But what does make sense is that y'all was after that man intellectual property the whole goddamn time. It wasn't about no victims. It wasn't about no females. Yeah, the government gave them a little payout. Go ahead about your business. Thank you. We got the big fish. That's all we wanted. We don't care about y'all. So when I keep saying make it make sense, that's what I mean. Make it make sense. So then you have the government that working through Don Russell. Now you have to ask a question. Who is Heather Williams connected to that she's only going after Keith and Robert and only the intellectual property of Robert that Keith supposed to hold? Why didn't she go after the intellectual property that Don Russell have of Robert and that Keith have? You see what I'm saying now? How do you go after one and not all? Not unless you've been sent by one to go after the other. I told y'all, two people cannot agree. Mainly, your enemy cannot be comfortable with doing something against you unless somebody that you care about, somebody that you know, somebody that you love is agreement or in agreement with your enemy. Something for y'all to think about. Your enemy cannot be comfortable and operate against you unless somebody that you know, somebody that you're close to, somebody that you love is in agreement with your enemy. So now that you know that, I'm not going to give you the answer. Who could be in agreement with R. Kelly enemy? Think about it. He gave you the blueprint. He said, if one of us get caught, then the other can still operate. So if one get caught, Keith, the other, Don, can operate. You got three. And listen to what she says she want. I want 3 Grammys. I want all 3 of them Grammys. Why? I want the music rights to the song that got him the Grammys. Well, here's what I believe the judge is going to say about all of that. You can't operate like that. The judge is going to say, was you with him when he wrote that song? No. Was you with him when he performed that song? No. Was you with him when he recorded that song? No. Did you produce that song? No. Did you write that song? No. You can't get rights to the song. To be a willing participant doesn't hold the same weight as a wife. Now, the wife can get half of all of that. Half of all of that. But a willing participant that lied about the age, that talked about, oh, I was underage, you're not entitled to none of that. You won the $4 million by default. Just like Angelina Prado won the $4 million by default. But you want rights to the song and his Grammys. Why do you want his Grammys? And it goes to show, for the people that read what was going on, that Heather Williams is jealous of Joycelyn. Oh, he gave it to his girlfriend, so I want it. Why? So now I got a question. If Robert would have said, okay, Heather Williams, you my girlfriend, do you think this lawsuit would have been going on? Nope. I'm going to be honest. I don't. And the reason why is because she's showing just how tacky she is. And she's also showing that this was never about being victimized. This lawsuit, just like the New York lawsuit, just like the Chicago lawsuit, and the Chicago case and New York case, and that case that we heard about today, it's all about his funds. It's all about his intellectual property. It's all about what he could have did for you. Well, I got a question. What could have what could have y'all done for him? That's the question I'm asking. What could y'all have done for him? Let's talk about it. So Choke took down the Don Russell video. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, choked him. Hold on. No, he didn't. I'm sorry. Hold on. Hold on. Here it is.
Don't follow those cats.
Hold on.
Niggas that be on the gram. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with that.
They got something on all of them to keep their ass at bay.
Listen.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that.
So, getting off into this whole R. Kelly situation, I appreciate you coming back because you didn't get a chance to speak uninterrupted yesterday because there was so much shit going on. But I don't want to reiterate everything because you did touch on a lot of key points. But when I get into this whole R. Kelly thing, and I watched it, and I haven't been invested in it as much as everybody is, but by the time I came into it, all the players was already on the court. You know what I'm saying? I came in the fourth quarter. I'm watching the clock. Now I know who's playing, what's going on. Now, correct me and my conspiracy theory, I'm gonna call it, or alleged theory on how this goes. Long story, I'm gonna give a long story short. Cheryl Mack gets cut, and now I know that she knew the Savages even before Joycelyn even met Rob. You know what I'm saying? Because she flew them in for the show and the audition and all that, this, that, and other. But from how I see, allegedly Cheryl Mack gets upset with Rob. She wanted to do this TV show. She reaches out to Tamara to help her. Tamara she's still in the fold with Rob. She casts a whole bunch of women or reaches out to a whole bunch of women that used to allegedly deal with Rob, whatever. Cass Jones got this book, Sex Me, Daddy's Little Freak or whatever. A fictional story that she wrote about some girls supposed to be messing with Rob, this, that, and that. Eventually, she meets Rob in real life. She tells him about this book. She tells him it's fictional. Them building Cheryl Mack allegedly trying to get this TV show deal going with about R. Kelly. It starts transpiring. She get in touch with the Savages, or Santi gets in the house, or somehow she get kicked out the house. According to her, she was dating Rob. From a lot of people I hear, she wasn't. But she get kicked out the house, so she says that she reached out to the family of the girls, and then all this eventually transpires into surviving R. Kelly. Surviving R. Kelly gets all this attention. Somebody from Homeland Security supposed to have seen this, and they go and get him indicted, blah, 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 and he goes to trial, boom, 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 he blows, and we here. In a nutshell. I know it's a whole lot of pieces to it, but how's that sound to you?
Yeah, in a nutshell, that is, so if you're looking at a puzzle, that piece is there. It's definitely there in the puzzle. I think there was, and because you have the lack of seeing it with your own eyes, it's kind of hard to go off of hearsay. So what I can say is, in a nutshell, that works. There were probably some things that I heard that were a little bit differently about the involvement of the Savages, the Clarys, and how the FBI, Homeland Security, got involved, which was a close tie to one of the Savages and Cheryl Mack. Those are initially the culprits that I heard were responsible. I heard that Angelo sort of got drug into it. So I do believe that, because initially I was talking to Angelo Caleri and I was talking to Tim Savage in the very beginning, because one of the things that that I felt was important to do was get everybody at the table so we can mediate this thing. Let's sit down, let's work this thing out so we can get the girls back home, at least get the families involved in their lives in some capacity. And we were planning on doing it around the holidays, and it just always turned into a fucking production. There had to be some music being made, an album going to be put out, and I'm like, listen, fuck all that. Let's just get everybody back together again, and then we can work on that shit, And the only person that seemed to have any kind of conversation, decent conversation, initially was Angelo Clary. Now, most of it was probably him probing the shit out of me, but I was doing the same thing to him. So, but for the most part, it seemed like it could be handled amicably. It seemed like that. But when you mix money in and outside influence, which, it was a lot of shit fueling that, that's what turned it into, I think, where we are today. That's part of which turned it into where we are today. As far as
let me ask you a question, since you're right there at that point. When you say that, you was trying to get everybody together, wasn't it they already dealing with their daughters already? It wasn't like
this is Christmas 2018, and the goal was to get everybody. We're gonna do a party at a hotel, bring everybody up, the families that is, and then just do this whole. We would. I pitched the whole idea to Rob and said, "Listen, it ain't a bad idea for you to go and just get a couple songs and something done on the girls, and that way we can say that's what the silence was about. Nobody, the songs. He was in the studio in the lab."
But why do he need to do that when these girls are emancipated? In 2018,
listen to the interview.
They're not held captive. They're not underage. He made a decision of their own not to go home. So why the parents? Because they harassing Rob.
I get that, but I was trying to be the person that was understanding of both sides. In both instances, the whole thing of this starting over them trying to get some music done. The whole N-word to Rob was them trying to get Rob to produce their babies, whether they had to decision out to do it. So it was like I'm hearing what they saying, and I'm understanding he ain't buying none of that bull. They don't want to sing. I'm hearing this from the girls and all that shit. So it was like, Rob, why don't you just make a couple songs before they ever come out? Just make the songs just to have them. And that'll silence the parents, let the mother and father. They feel like they can take them and make $1 million off for 2 songs on Asriel. Give them to them. Who gives a fuck? But that's just not the route that they want to take.
Who gives a fuck? He shouldn't give a fuck that they want songs on these daughters. At 2018, they already been with him 2 years, probably 3 years, right?
Yeah.
So
I guess, yeah.
If they are content with their relationship with him and it ain't even about business, shit.
Yeah, but see, the problem with that was the girls were still communicating with their parents.
Okay.
See, it wasn't like they had, who the fuck is that? We was headed over to the studio that night. I don't remember what was happening, but we was headed there. And then there was a dude circling the car, and it was a black. And I looked at him, I'm like,
Don, this is why you got yourself in some shit. Because you shouldn't have said shit. And I know you probably a man with a big heart, but like shit.
Yeah, but see, the problem with that was the girls were still communicating with their parents.
Okay.
See, it wasn't like they had cut them off. That's how all them calls got recorded and all that shit.
Hold on. Hold on.
And I think it was Asriel's father, and then some motherfuckers out there in a white truck. And Rob had a Jeep that had the, you could peel it off, the top off of it. So we was like, pull that motherfucker up, put it in front of the camera just in case they try to put some shit in it, or whatever be the case. So the whole thing with the Clarys and the Savages, we kind of thrown in there at one moment. It wasn't out front. The only thing that was out front at first was he didn't have his music. He didn't own none of his shit. You know, that was the only thing that was up front. The whole and the girls, because I had seen them on multiple occasions. I didn't know who the fuck they were. They his girls. We go play ball. They with them. We go do this. They with them. Whatever. Who gives a shit? That's his girl. I ain't here for that. But when that shit happened with the keys being stolen, that's what forced me to have to deal with the Clary's on that shit. Because I told Rob I just saw the father outside and all of the keys are not missing all of his cars and shit.
Right. And I ain't trying to throw them under the bus, but nigga, that shit is extortion. You can't fucking sit here and make me work with your daughter and put out music. And even if I record music with her, they let the people from Lifetime know that shit was false, and they still put it out.
I'm the one leaked the tape because I mean the bottom line was Cameron knew it was fake and that everybody was lying. And Tim said it himself. And, you know, he said that shit. You know, he said a lot of shit on those tapes. You know, but they spent $4, $5, $6 million, so they can't pull back now. They can't pull back. Yeah, he said that.
Yeah. So what's the purpose of doing the 3? Because in January they're supposed to have another part coming out.
Man, you know, dumb people, they're wicked people, dog. It's like a snip from the Cook County showing that he could be bonded out security bond. But the fact of the matter is he couldn't cash in the surety bond. He had to go back to the owner. So that's the issue that he had with the, you know, taking the surety bond. And he knew at that point he wouldn't be able to pull no shit. You know what I mean? So it's like with me. Snoop Dogg. So when they had issues, he wasn't the type of lawyer that would take it to trial because he used to be a federal prosecutor. He said, you're basically paying me to end the case. If I get it, I'm going to go in there and do a mediation or arbitration, whatever the hell he was saying, and end the shit. It's not going to ever make it to trial. I don't take cases to trial. So his
lawyer lost that case.
They take another $2 million and investigate stuff. So be ready to spend $5 million. So that's when we knew that rock hard finite number that we had to secure was $5 million. That was it. We had to secure $5 at minimum. I don't give a fuck nothing else. Get covered. $5 million had to get covered. So we had Mike Friedman. He started communicating with Rob. He sent his retainer agreement in. Rob signed the retainer agreement. You know what I'm saying? It was simple as that. We all met out in L.A., me, Keith, my uncle who owns Roscoe's. It was a network guy there. And Mike Friedman, we sat down, we came up with a game plan, and that was as simple as it should have been. We should have worked that game plan, and we probably would have a different fucking result. So we got Mike Friedman there, Rob signs it. Him and Greenberg are cool because they're good old boys. So Greenberg talking to Mike every day, and he's talking to Nicole, and Mike, they all in on Mike, and he's kind of designing everything. But then the money never came up. So we got Mike in there, who stayed in there. Huh?
Yeah, so is Greenberg partners with Jennifer Mannnn?
No. Is he with her?
Are they partners?
No. Hell no. Yeah, no. Gene and Greenberg got nothing to do with each other. That's Bill all the way up. I mean, you know, I'm not going to speculate. I don't know that Bill did anything to influence it, but it only makes sense. You know, he made a nice statement saying contracts for one artist. But a lot of them was in the folder of promissory notes. And I'm going in this promissory note folder looking at $7 million, $4 million, $8 million, $2 million. I'm like, what the fuck is this about? What the what? So I said the only person I had at this point was Keith, because Rob was locked up. Keith, is this Rob's signature? I know it's not his signature, but I wanted somebody else to say it wasn't his signature. None of the signatures on shit. All these promissory notes that's totaled over $100 million in withdrawal.
Now watch this. How can he say he know that's not Rob's signature, but he the one that told y'all he have all of Rob's signatures? Pay attention and listen to the name who he keep throwing out there.
That they use to leverage his writer share against, they collateralize his writer share, and then they securitize the contract, by the security agreement by signing his signature on it. They got money. So I'm looking at this shit like, what the fuck is this? So I knew of some of the thieving, like, let's wind it back some. I was doing the contracts and stuff from the shows where somebody would white out or Photoshop the contract and say, type in all in on there. Oh, no, it was all in, but then they would type in 2 weeks beforehand he's supposed to get his money, and it's supposed to be $60,000 when actually I finally got it through out to the promoter. It was 90,000. It was supposed to be 2 hours before the show. So niggas was still doing that kind of shit all throughout the whole situation. I mean, so you got to realize Rob don't read no contracts. He trusts somebody else to read them. As long as he checking his bag, I guess he was good enough with that shit. That's stupid as fuck to me. You know what I'm saying? But I've never been at that height, never had that kind of money. So I don't know what would make a man not keep his eye on the dime of it. But that just that seemed kind of, I don't know the reason behind that. You know what I mean? Whether somebody do some shit, there's so many rumors swirling about that shit. I have no fucking clue. But I know when I started reading them shits, and I started calling promoters, and I'm like, yo, promoters were suing him, and I'm like, well, shit, he got his deposit 2 weeks before the show. He never got it. They're like, 2 weeks? Fuck no, that's 2 hours. I said, the contract I'm looking at says 2 weeks. Prove me otherwise. Then they would send me the contract that they had, and it said 2 hours. I mean, so all that shit was taking place like all over the motherfucking place. So you got niggas stealing from the concerts. You got this whole situation now that Brood opened up the fucking right shares and the publishing and all this shit. And then I'm authenticating shit over here, trying to get it authenticated. And then, of course, the situation that they done created this toxic fucking environment from the very beginning with Rob and the label. So the label don't want to have no communication with Rob, although they're handling his business because Tracy Sampson shit. When he went over to the label, goofy ass fucked on Tracy, which was stupid. That's my nigga, but he got a sex problem. We know that. He fucked us, so now the label don't want to talk to him no more. They're not giving him information, which is what Wayne Williams used to do. Wayne used to tell the information directly to Rob. Rob, they're stealing from you. And Rob wouldn't do the right thing with that information and then turned into problems. So when you look at the situation, how this shit went down, it was a toxic environment created, which is...
When you went through all those contracts and all those stuff and his signature was forged, did you find out who was behind all that?
Yeah, we found out a lot of people behind it. That was what's his name? Barry Hankerson, his son Jomo Hankerson, Dale McDavid, Cheryl Mack, Artie Pabone, Linda Mintz, Joan Sullivan. These are all the names that were stealing money from Robin for various ventures and shit like that. There's more of them. So, like I said, those people walking around, living, walking, breathing today, they all got money. If I'm lying, it's just, you know what I'm saying? They can put charges on me right the fuck now. But that paperwork don't lie. And that shit's in the Sony portal right the fuck now. So, come at me if you want with lawsuits. I have proof to show that y'all did this shit. So, I mean, and that's me putting myself out there saying, these powerful, Barry got bread. So the fuckers already promoting. All them motherfuckers do. But they were stealing that man's money. And I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Wrong is wrong. Period.
Now, speaking of charges, you got a charge, right? From this whole incident. 2 charges.
2.
I want you to talk about your charges, but before you talk about your charges, I just see that the dude Michael Williams got sentenced to, I believe, 8 years today, right?
Damn.
Right, and let me put this on the screen, and I'm
Listen
sure
to what you say.
How effed up this is, because I spoke to the girl Cass Jones, right? Yeah. And she told me that you didn't have nothing to do with dude burning the car up. That was all because of Angelo. She got in the beef with Angelo or something, and dude took it upon himself to do that. She ain't even tell him to do that, but he was just trying to defend her and shit, right? So me knowing that coming from her, and this is her cousin, I believe, allegedly, that did this, right? Look how they posting the story out here, right? Look at this shit. This is fucked up. Justin, a Georgia man once connected to R. Kelly's entourage, has been sentenced to 8 years in federal prison for torching a vehicle belonging to one of the disgraced singer's high-profile accusers in an attempt to silence her. Story coming. What the fuck? That's crazy.
It is. That is.
Yo, guys, they putting this on R. Kelly. He ain't got shit to do with it. He did that dude ain't even a part of the entourage.
Rob don't even know this guy. Don't even know him.
That's fucked. You see what I'm saying?
But I mean, that's their tactic. If you read my indictment,
Listen.
And I read it probably for the first time about a couple of weeks back. Fired my attorney because he never once asked me who I was, and then I do it. He just basically told me I was going to do a year in jail. Now, I've got a lot of business and a lot of things that I do regularly. A lot of things happen because of me, and I'm in a position where I'm growing things in my business. Got shareholders, got kids, got family. And you're going to tell me I'm doing a year for what? I didn't do nothing. But then I read the damn indictment. I was like, what the fuck they talking to us out of this indictment? And we got all this stuff talking about, first of all, the whole thing was talking about Rob. My indictment is 6 pages. Take 4.5 pages of it was talking about Rodelli and all the shit that they say he did. And this, that, and other. Then they go to talking about his enterprise, and they talk about employee number 1, employee number 2, employee number 3. And I'm like, okay, so what the fuck does any of this have to do with me? Because all this shit happened 3 years before I even came around. And like, what the fuck does this have to do with me? Then at the end of it, they swag me into the letter that I sent out there to Lydia, which was the lawyer of one of the accusers. I sent the letter out there to them, and that's essentially the fucking charge that I got, because she sent the lawyer sent who's now doing time. She's doing 17 months time for being a crooked ass lawyer. She sent an extortion letter to get money up out of Rob, who was my client at the time, and we were asked to deal with that, and the person she represented wanted out of it anyway. They wanted out of it. So we sent the letter back explaining, this is why you should drop the case. That's the one that I pranced around with. I didn't write it, a lawyer wrote it. And Rob signed it, meaning I was okay with what was in it. Sent it out there. That's essentially the stalking charge. So I'm reading this indictment like, what the fuck?
The lawyer.
You got 5.
The lawyer he talking about is Brian Nick. And I broke it down and showed y'all that Robert didn't sign it.
5 pages of shit that ain't got nothing to do with it. It's a paragraph. So they're trying to paint this picture that I was the one that led all these employees, they get all this shit from 2012 to 2010 to 20, whatever it was. I didn't come into 2018. So why are they being mentioned in the same sentence with all that shit when I wasn't even around when all that shit happened? It don't even make no sense. But that's an example of it right there. And what I was told was that, listen,
why they doing that to you, because you got in front of the camera and said, "Oh, I'm his advisor, I'm his consultant," and you not when it go with a Fed case, say if niggas was selling drugs, say R. Kelly and them niggas was selling drugs, and then at the tail end of it, you come down and they catch you on the phone or wiretap. Say, yeah, I'll fuck with them niggas. I'll roll with them niggas. Bam! That just put you right in they shit. It's that simple.
So it's 2 parts to that. Let me explain them both, because this has come up a lot. So one, I had already been thrown in the mix long before that by the Clarence and the Savages, as Tasha K stated that in the interview that she did. The reason she went after me so bad because she had got all this reports from this manipulated information that the Savages and the Clarence gave her, saying that I was this big gangster and all this shit. So that's the same thing they went to the Homeland Security with. It had nothing to do with me doing that interview. Now, let's explain the interview. So for all those who don't understand why I did the interview, that was the day he got released. I was behind this car, and let's explain the famous Edie moment. He went to the truck with Rob. When Rob got out, I was the car right behind him. And right in front of that was a Sprinter. I was in the blue right behind him that was on this hill the whole time we did the O.J. Simpson moment with the cameras on us and shit and paparazzi following us. Right. So I'm on the phone with Bug the whole time, which is Rob's uncle. And when Edie went up to the car, the reason he didn't get back in my car because Rob, the Bug's going to let that motherfucker ride with you. That's as simple as that was. So I followed him over to, I think we went to McDonald's. We went to Lake Street and shook the paparazzi. Then we went to McDonald's, he ate. Then we went over to the cigar bar. We get to the cigar bar, it's none but paparazzi out there. And I had a guy that had told me to meet me over there. I said, nigga, get this camera. And I want you to stand out here with these motherfuckers all night and hear everything that they saying so we can know what the fuck they up to. So I had a guy implanted in.
So let me ask y'all this. After y'all hearing him say that, how did paparazzi know where they was going? And then you heard him come back and say he told somebody to go meet him over there with a camera. So when I told you this was all a bleed for R. Kelly money from the beginning, is that, hey,
there, listening, giving me a play-by-play on the cell phone, telling me what the fuck they was up to. So one of the things they kept talking about, was it was some young women up in there. So let's fast forward inside the place. We in Biggs. We on top floor. People celebrating. He got out, all this little shit. I say, okay. Shit. There was two young women over there, and that drink was McAllen. That's what it was. They had a bottle of McAllen. I'm looking, I'm like, man, I've never seen any young black women up in Biggs. Never seen that. So I'm looking like, what the fuck they doing in here? It was weird. So he just telling me they trying to catch pictures of him, with some young girls. So in my mind, I'm like, they trying to set him up. That's what I thought. So I left, went outside, and I started laughing. I said, hey, y'all, joke's on y'all. We snuck him out the back door. He gone. And they like, come on, nah, this is bullshit. We know he's in there. I said, he's gone. I'm leaving. Y'all can watch me get in my car and leave. And that's when the question came out. Are you his manager? Just give us something, say something to us. And I went on to say what I had to say. And what I specifically was trying to iterate to them was, one, there's a lot of shit going on. Yeah, there was tapes filed. But if y'all specifically remember, if you recall, what I said was, well, back in those days, he was advised to take all of his sexual encounters because that's when Mike Tyson had just got his cases and all that other shit. And people remember that if he could only prove what was in the room, he would have been okay. So that's exactly what I said in that interview. I'm like, recording his sex sessions was to prove what happened in the room. And the next question that they asked, they didn't edit this right. They cut that shit off, and I was like, well, shit, it was a lot of, he has a lot of fucking sex. And essentially, more than me and you probably would. So that's why I was like, well, he probably does need to see a shrink, goddammit, but he don't need to be going to no fucking jail. For a lot of people that have a lot of sex, he just has a lot more than that person. And that's as simple as that was. That was the intention right there. But I wasn't walking out there expecting to be interviewed. I gave them something so they would be satisfied enough, see me get in my car and leave. That was it. I didn't go there to have no press moment or none of that kind of shit. So that's exactly, but it was one of those things when you caught up in there, you got 1,000 fucking cameras surrounding you, and either they're going to stand there and wait all night, or they're going to see this nigga who the only motherfucker be having personal conversation with certain people. First encounter, with a celebrity, and then to appease that celebrity, now they're thrown in a room with 5 women. You know what I'm saying? And to stay in that room so they can get at him, or considered an addiction against you. Michael Jackson's was kids. That ain't no fucking problem. But look what they took him down with. Fuck.
And women living in the house with him for years. Celebrities used to go there all the time and fuck.
Until that happens, it's gonna stay state and tucked away. I have every unfucking released album, and all the motherfuckers are sitting there. It was there at one point, but it wasn't acting as the Playboy Mansion when I lived in the building that I did.
Right. But my point is this. Hugh Hefner had over 5-10 women living in the house with him for years.
I doubt it, but Rob seemed to be easy target.
Yeah, you said it right. I was just making my point.
Okay, well that's it. Okay, you got me to say it. But
he did it on a grand scale in front of the whole world.
Okay.
And nobody said shit.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Now, go grab all the girls that lived in the Playboy Mansion.
Right.
And tell them motherfuckers to tell you some of them stories that happened in there. I bet you that shit is way worse than R. Kelly.
I'm sure 20 years from now, maybe 10, 5, we're going to hear the story about what went down. And the media needs something else to talk about now that they took Rob. They'll eventually, they always go after 1 or 2 of their own. Look what they did with Harvey Weinstein and Weinstein, so they'll find some reason to go after somebody else it is. They have to throw in a token every now and then to make it seem balanced, Let me address something that people have been asking and people have been saying. First of all, I don't have any of fucking Rob's music or his memorabilia or his gold records for sale any fucking where. if I was gonna put shit out there, I would put it on my platform, indiebill.com. Why the fuck would I make somebody else some money when I got a platform I can put it out there on my own? I'm not about that shit. I'm about making sure we keep the money within, not giving it to somebody else. So I don't have shit on eBay. Whoever's lying and saying that I do not. All of his music is safe, tucked away, waiting for him to say what he wants to be done with the shit. And until that happens, it's gonna stay safe and tucked away. I have every unfucking released album, and all the motherfuckers are sitting there in certain places, secured and copyrighted. So all that shit about me putting out his music, I don't want a dime off of none of that shit. If I set up a platform and whatever I spend, I expect to get paid that back, and any fucking percentage for my work, which may be 10 to 20 based on how much I put in. But other than that, that's his shit. And I don't take pride in taking nothing from no motherfucking body else. So I don't care what none of y'all saying about that. In that trash right the fuck now. I don't steal people's shit. 46 years in, I'm 46 years old. 30 years in the game. I ain't never been known as a thief till you motherfuckers is coming with this shit now. So cut it out. Stop it. Now let's get on with the show.
Let me ask you, Debowski took a picture with his Billboard award. He said you let him take a picture with it. He pulled it out of a pillowcase with a bunch of other shit that you had in there.
I know Debowski's a lying motherfucker. I had this right here. This award is still sitting in my house to this day, and it's gonna sit here. That's one. That's the other one, and that's a picture of my brother. That's it. That's all I got as far as memorabilia. Well, I paid me a box. I recently gave that to Kerry because Kerry didn't have shit of his own brother, so I gave it to Kerry and said, "Man, this is from your brother. Keep it." It was a real expensive fucking watch. I gave it to Kerry, and that was it. But I ain't got no bag full of shit. I got masters in music. The masters can't fit in no fucking bag. It takes a truck to move them, and the music is on the drive. So I don't know what the fuck else Debowski's talking about. He's lying. But go ahead.
But he had a picture with it. You let him take a picture with it?
I just showed him the picture right there.
Yeah. Because some people were saying that
yeah, I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that I got those.
He buried it in his backyard. It
was at the warehouse when we took the fucking stuff out of there, and I said, you know, I'm gonna just keep two of these as a keepsake. So what, man? I didn't steal shit. I had permission to be in there. Rob was locked the fuck up. All that shit we were talking about putting it on auction sites to raise money for his defense. So what the fuck is the problem? I mean, you know, nobody's saying that I stole shit but knuckleheads. Keith is the one that was in there with me. Trust me, he got a ton of shit too. So cut all that shit out about somebody stole something. We were tasked to handle certain things after he got fucked up, and that's what we're doing. There's no chance that I got his intellectual property and Keith got his power of attorney. You don't give everything to one person. If I get caught and I got power of attorney and intellectual property, mission fucked up. But as long as one of us are good, mission straight. Period. And until that happens, it's gonna stay safe and tucked away. I have every unfucking released album, and all the motherfuckers are sitting there in certain places, secured and copyrighted. So all that shit about me putting out his music, I don't want a dime off of none of that shit. If I set up a platform and whatever I spend, I expect to get paid that back, and any fucking percentage for my work, which may be 10 to 20 based on how much I put in. But other than that, that's his shit. And I don't take pride in taking nothing from no motherfucking body else. So I don't care what none of y'all saying about that. In that trash right the fuck now. I don't steal people's shit. 46 years in, I'm 46 years old. 30 years in the game. I ain't never been known as a thief till you motherfuckers is coming with this shit now. So cut it out. Stop it. Now let's get on with the show.
Let me ask you, Debowski took a picture with his Billboard award. He said you let him take a picture with it. He pulled it out of a pillowcase with a bunch of other shit that you had in there.
I know Debowski's a lying motherfucker. I had this right here. This award is still sitting in my house to this day, and it's gonna sit here. That's one. That's the other one, and that's a picture of my brother. That's it. That's all I got as far as memorabilia. Well, I paid me a box. I recently gave that to Kerry because Kerry didn't have shit of his own brother, so I gave it to Kerry and said, "Man, this is from your brother. Keep it." It was a real expensive fucking watch. I gave it to Kerry, and that was it. But I ain't got no bag full of shit. I got masters in music. The masters can't fit in no fucking bag. It takes a truck to move them, and the music is on the drive. So I don't know what the fuck else Debowski's talking about. He's lying. But go ahead.
But he had a picture with it.
Hold on.
To Kerry and said, "Man, this is from your brother. keep it. It was a real expensive fucking watch. I gave it to Kerry, and that was it. I ain't got no bad.
Let's get them likes up, y'all.
Masters in music. The masters.
I need 30 more likes.
It takes a truck to move them, and the music is on the drive. So I don't know what the fuck else the Boski's talking about. He's lying. Go ahead.
But he had a picture with it. You let him take a picture with it?
I just showed him the picture right there.
Yeah. Because some people would say that.
Yeah, I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that I got those.
Buried it in his backyard. It
was at the warehouse when we took the fucking stuff out of there, and I said, you know, I'm gonna just keep two of these as a keepsake. So what? And I didn't steal shit. I had permission to be in there. Rob was locked the fuck up. All that shit we were talking about putting it on auction sites to raise money for his defense. So what the fuck is the problem? I mean, you know, nobody's saying that I stole shit but knuckleheads. Keith is the one that was in there with me. Trust me, he got a ton of shit too. So cut all that shit out about somebody stole something. We were tasked to handle certain things after he got fucked up, and that's what we're doing. It's no chance that I got his intellectual property and Keith got his power of attorney. You don't give everything to one person. If I get caught and I got power of attorney and intellectual property, mission fucked up. But as long as one of us are good, mission straight. Period.
Right. You know, you don't feel like you vibe.
So here's my question. Before I go to the next before I go to the next task. It's my question. How did Keith get sued for intellectual property if you're the one that got the intellectual property? Not unless you got into Heather Williams' head and pointed her in the direction of Keith and Rob. I mean, like, I thought I made a lot of sense. But I guess common sense ain't common. Now, this would lead the feds to more tapes in Chicago. Listen to this.
Violated when you said the nigga had when you say he had a couple of sex tapes or sex videos. He's like, yeah, you know, he fucking, you know, he fucking. So you ain't feel violated seeing this nigga fucking?
What did you say?
I said you didn't feel like you was violating his privacy watching him fucking them sex videos?
Nigga, he had a sex tape on fucking for sale on the internet. How the fuck am I violating it with people watching them pissing on bitches and shit? Come on now. Whatever the fuck happened with
that shit ain't public.
They took that shit out. I was selling them shit in Jewtown around here. Come on, man. Cut that shit out. It's like Rob goes on tour every day and put his ass and his dick and everything in front of people, in front of millions of people. And me saying that's a problem? He has videos talking about fucking and second and fucking 5 or 6 bitches, and me saying that is a problem? Come on, now let's be real with this shit. Don't just make it a problem because I said it.
Can you say?
He said it too, shit.
Can you say who you saw him fucking?
No, I didn't see him. What you mean? I saw the tapes with names and XXX on the motherfuckers. I didn't see no motherfucker. I don't sit there and watch this nigga fucking nobody. No, I watch porn, but not him.
That's what I thought. That's what it seemed like, brother.
Come on, man. That's your creepy ass disposition. You said a lot of shit. That's your disposition.
No.
So basically, I'm showing y'all where Don gave y'all the play and everybody overlooked it because they wanted to say, oh, Dana J hating on Don. I'm just saying, on that note, I'm going to continue to keep Robert in prayer. I'm going to continue fighting for him. And I don't know what else. I don't know what more can I say. I put it out there. I showed y'all what it is. Now it's up for y'all to take a stand. Y'all the voice. Y'all the voice. On that note, Dream Team, love y'all. Affiliates, I love y'all. Everybody in the lawn, I love y'all. I got to go back to doing what I'm doing. All right? Y'all be blessed. One up, one love. All love. Free R. Kelly.